What's going on, guys? It's Barry here with the Scry Guys, and I know. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for staying with us. I know we really haven't been uploading much. Just me and my co-host Quest have just been a little bit busier with other things, but I wanted to do a little bit of content for you guys, a little update for the Crimson Vow stuff. It's not exactly a set that I was really excited about. Honestly, vampires never have really been my thing. But this set came with a couple of cards that I thought were really interesting, and then it didn't exactly tie into only being vampire themed. I'm not really huge on tribal decks, so that's why I wasn't really interested. But when I did play a sealed event with a friend of ours, and got to look at some cards, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually really good." So I compiled a list for you guys that as you can see on the title screen, Crimson Vow awesome cards. Doing this old school, we're going PowerPoint today. So we wanted to show. We're just gonna go ahead and talk about things right now. And the first card, and it's the card I had in my draft pool, was... Oh, sorry. Hold on. Change of Fortunes. 3 in a red, sorcery, discard your hand, then draw a card for each card you've discarded. Now, this is a very poor imitation of another fortune card, Wheel of Fortune. But as you can see on the screen right here, it is $2.20, and that's a lot better than paying, I think, maybe $400 or $500 for the 3-mana Wheel of Fortune. And one of the things about Wheel of Fortune that I've always never really liked, or any kind of effect like that, like Windfall, Days Undoing, is that it's giving cards to other players as well. So this one, yes, of course, especially for Commander, you can't dump your hand out and then grab a whole new fresh 7. This one is very dependent on your hand. It's a windfall for yourself, so it's depending on how many cards you have in your hand, that's how many cards you're going to draw. So it's not Wheel of Fortune. You don't just get to dump your hand. You don't get to dump all your 0-drop mana rocks and then grab a new fresh 7. But that being said, when you pair this up with Underworld Breach, and it's almost just a very budget version of that combo of what's it called, like Lion's Eye Diamond, Wheel of Fortune. With this, you could kind of do it with this and maybe a Mana Geyser that's in the graveyard already, so you can constantly keep digging and then just winning the game that way. However, if you're playing Izzet, obviously you have like that's Zoracle and Jace. Or maybe you're just really trying to set up for a huge rise from the Dark Realms. I forgot that 9 mana. You take all the creatures from all graveyards, put it to your battlefield. Rise from the Dark Realms, I believe. But yeah, it's doing a very poor imitation of that. But that being said, it's only $2.20. I think it's a decent pickup. I don't see this going much higher at the moment, so I'm not saying, oh, go pick it up right now, but it's definitely a card that I think would be interesting to add to your collection, especially at this price. Let's go to our next card. Dig up. So I really wanted to try to do this monocolored, just because once you add in a second color, it starts to narrow it down, but for 1 mana, so at the beginning of your turn 1, right? You're searching your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand. It's not exactly ramping, but you're not gonna miss your next land drop. You're in Golgari, but later on, the best thing I like about this things, right, is that it scales with the game. Because Dig Up, if it didn't have the cleave cost, it's just a 1 mana go grab a land. You're not gonna put that in your deck. Right, you'd rather go for an extra mana and do a ramp spell like 3 visits, Nature's Lore, and all that stuff. But the fact that it has this extra cleave spell where it just becomes a 4 mana Diabolic Tutor, I believe it is. Yeah, Diabolic Tutor. It it makes it better. It's because of its ability to scale throughout the game. So when you get this turn 6 or 7, and maybe you're really in a desperate need for a Toxic Deluge or a Necromantic Summon, I think a board wipe, or maybe if you need something to just dig up something from your deck to help you combo off or to seal the game, this is definitely going to be one of those cards. So, and it's only $3.86. Probably might go lower depending on what the current state of Standard and Pioneer is. I'm not too adept to that. I mainly play Commander. But for you Golgari players or for you Abzan players, I think this is definitely worth a pickup. Next card is Hole Breaker Horror. Okay. Don't be scared about the price. I know $12.50 is a lot because the last 2 cards have been under $5. I don't know if this is going to maintain this price. It's just the price that's on TCG right now. And at the time of recording, we are still in pre-release weekend. So, this being a 7-drop, normally I would say it wouldn't be good. But then again, we've seen things like, I don't know, Agent of Treachery come into play in Standard and Pioneer. So, it might be a stretch to say that this will drop or this will maintain the $12.50 price. I really see this card being a maybe $4 to $5 card. But you never know, right? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the state of Standard and Pioneer. But that being said, for Commander, a Hullbreaker Horror 5 and 2 blue creature Kraken Horror, which Kraken is a very popular archetype, especially in Simic. So getting to 7 mana by turn 3 or 4 is not outside of the realm of possibilities. But this card has Flash. Flash gives, it's like if you put Flash on it, it's like almost like taking off 2 mana, because you don't have to do it at your turn. You could do it at the end step of someone else's turn, right? But the fact that this can't be countered. Listen, I thought we already learned a lesson from Coma with the not being able to counter it, but this spell can be countered. And then whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand, or you return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So the first spell is almost like it's a soft counter, right? So someone's gonna play, I don't know, Cleansing Nova, right? You brainstorm and you return it back to their hand. So it's messing up their tempo, which is awesome, and that with it by itself would have been amazing. And then now you have this Temporal Fissure-like ability, or God, what's that one card? The 3 mana one with buyback. But you have another ability where it says target non-land permanent. Return target non-land permanent to its end. So you go ahead and ponder, and you return a Zendikar Resurgent. What's another thing? Omen Speaker, like Omen or whatever. Ponder, brainstorm, anything 1 to 2. You're basically turning those spells like brainstorm and ponder, which is only 1, into 3 CMC type of spells, like, where you're, okay, I'm going to look at the top card, I'm going to scry 1, and I'm going to return this, that, here, there. Thank God this thing doesn't have Magecraft. Magecraft would have been a nightmare. But definitely, for a spell that has Flash, can be countered, 2 very relevant abilities in Commander, and it's a 7/8, so it's a 7/8 body to boot. Definitely, I think it's gonna be worth a pickup. I don't know about $12.50, but when Crimson Vow releases and we get down to $5, $6, $7, definitely, I think it's worth it. Next spell is Welcoming Vampire, 2 and a white creature vampire, flying. Whenever one or more creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability only triggers once. Okay. So this is pretty much Mentor of the Meek. This is a new Mentor of the Meek, and the reason why I like this card so much is even though it's a vampire, it doesn't limit itself to only being vampire creatures. So I would definitely put this in a white deck that doesn't have reliable card draw. I mean, obviously, white. Everyone in the Magic community has always complained about white lacking some sort of card draw, and then so to have another Mentor of the Meek type of ability is great, and especially being a 2/3, right? And the fact that you don't have to pay for this is amazing. And so it says right here at the end, this ability triggers only once each turn, meaning that on your turn you can create a 1/1, draw a card, and then on everybody else's turn, if you have any type of cards that will make little weenie creatures like that Pegasus enchantment where you pay 2 mana, you make a 2/2 Pegasus. Or what else is another thing? If you have this in Selesnya, you have a Tendershoot Dryad, or the 7-drop version of that, you're going to, at the upkeep, make a 1/1, draw a card. So, what else? Heliod, the very first version, you pay 4 mana, make a 2/1 enchantment creature, draw a card, and then you pair that up with the Pharah. This can really get out of hand in a very tamed manner, and the fact that you don't have to pay 1 mana to do it doesn't make it better than Mentor of the Meek, because you can keep doing it with Mentor of the Meek, but it's free to do. Right? So definitely I think it's worth a pick up. The current price right now is $420. Hee And yeah, definitely worth a pick up though. I think that price might not calm down too much at the moment, because Crimson Vow is going to be a new set and vampires. So it might get more expensive, maybe. But definitely at $4, I think it's worth a pickup for any white deck. And then for our last card for our rares is Headless Rider, 2 and a black. Whenever Headless Rider or another token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature. Okay, now this is very narrow, but it's only because I have a zombie deck. But a 3-drop 3/1 that replaces itself with a 2/2 zombie, or you have the combo of Gravecrawler, and now you're just making a bajillion zombies when you have a Phyrexian Altar out, and this, and Gravecrawler, now you're just making infinite 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. What more do I say? Alright, and so now I also did a uncommon cards that I think are pretty awesome and might get overlooked because no one's ever really excited about uncommon and common cards. So I wanted to do a little spotlight for that as well. We have, for the red, Into the Night. It cannot always be day, whatever, you know the lyrics. 3 in the red sorcery, it becomes night, not the important part for me. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. Just another way to consistently draw cards in red. Obviously, it's very dependent on how many cards you have in your hand, so it's not the greatest. But for 4 mana, it's a little Reforge the Soul for yourself. It's just another wheel for yourself. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really very excited when I give cards to other players that might have needed to wheel away cards. So I think it's nice. Obviously, it would be way much more better if it was one of those modal land spells from Zendikar, but you know, we can't have everything. For our green spell, we have Retrieve, 2 and a green. Return up to 1 target creature card and up to 1 target non-creature permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile, Retrieve. Awesome. You know, obviously it's not like Balakhit Recovery where it's a land on the other side. But this kind of reminds me of the 4 mana blue spell where you can return an instant and a sorcery to your hand. It's just the green version of this. This one's going to let you get a creature and a non-creature permanent. So you can get a land, an artifact, an enchantment, a planeswalker. So for 3 mana, you're going to be able to get 2 things back to your hand. Again, something that green kind of is almost like the new black where you don't have to pay land, you just have to pay more mana. But yeah, definitely I think worth a pickup. It's only 25 cents. A lot of these cards are only going to be 25 cents. Blue, Soul Cipher board, 1 in a blue artifact. Soul Cipher board enters the battlefield with 3 Omen counters on it. 1 in a blue activated ability where you tap it, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your graveyard, and then whenever a creature card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, remove an Omen counter from Soul Cipher board. Then, if it has no counters on it, transform it. It becomes a 3/2 creature. The only reason I didn't put the backside of her on here is obviously I'm a bad content creator, but I'm really here just for the front side, right? You're going to be able to really do a lot of card selection on your top deck, you know, because sometimes, and I've been there in decks, like especially blue, if I'm not really getting land drops or I'm getting mana flooded, this is just a nice way to go ahead and thin that out and try to do more like card selection of like, well, what's your best possible option at this moment? You know, if you have 2 lands, then you're thinning your deck out, taking out all these lands. If you're not hitting your lands, you can just get a land and then dump whatever spell is gonna go to the graveyard. Just because there's so many ways to retrieve things from the graveyard tends to now become an extra deck, unless you get Bajuka Bog. So I definitely think it's a nice little imitation of the Search of Escanta enchantment. Obviously it doesn't flip into the land, but I think it's nice, and it's only 25 cents, so it's worth a try. And we have white, our Radiant Grace, 1 white, enchantment aura, enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has vigilance, and then when the creature dies, it comes back onto the battlefield attached to target opponent, enchant player, creatures enchanted player controls enter the battlefield tap. Yeah, I know this is going to be board dependent. You have to have a creature on it to be able to trigger. It's like Journey to Escanta, something like that, where it has to hit a creature to be able to do the effect, right? To be able to transform, but to sort of dick over one of your opponents, where all his creatures will come and tap. For 1 mana, it's awesome. I think it's worth it, and it's only 25 cents. And I like the little flavor text it says here. Even in times of brutal darkness, never mistake beauty and delicacy for weakness. Thalia, who also does the same thing. That's funny. Next card is Restless Bloodseeker. 1 in a black, creature vampire. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a blood token, sacrifice 2 blood tokens, and transform this vampire into Bloodsoak Reveler. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a blood token. 4 in a black, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. So let me get some infinite mana and then just drain out the table. Pretty much that's where it's gonna be at. The fact, like, there's no tap symbol to this. That's what I want people to know, that there is no tap this creature and you could only do it once a turn. No. If you're able to amass infinite life or infinite mana, this is pretty much it. You're gonna win the game with this if no one has any way of dealing with this. Thank whoever I need to thank that this didn't flip into some sort of enchantment or something harder to remove. But definitely this could be a legitimate win con in a lot of EDH decks. And I think that is... Yep, that is... Oh, I don't have a blue card. Oh, no, I do have a blue card. Alright. Yep, that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys had a wonderful pre-release weekends. I hope you guys got everything that you wanted. I know I didn't, unfortunately. I was really on the hunt for that Cultivator Colossus, which I could kind of see get banned in the future. I don't know. But I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend with Crimson Vow. I hope you guys got to play many sealed events with your friends. Get salty when you guys did drafts together. Or, you know, if you had fun at your LGSs. But that's going to be today's episode. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We will try to come out with more content for you guys to enjoy. Have a nice day. What?